Well, you guys are quiet. Whoa, can we keep you like this? No. Good afternoon. So guys, thanks for coming. A lot of you guys traveled from near, far, far, far away, so thanks for all the travel. A lot of you guys traveled on Sunday, so thank you for that. And we have some guests here, so we're doing something a little bit different. For the guests that are in the audience, one of our big things in Summit is to partner with you at a higher and higher level. And so this is what we call a soft opening to the Loan Officer Retreat that starts formally tomorrow. And we had a lot of people that wanted to come in and hang out before, maybe do a half day of classes, so that's kind of what this is about. Tanya and I are going to teach this class. Tanya is a great loan officer from Nashville, Tennessee, and she and I are going to ham and egg it up here, and then at 4 o'clock we'll be done. Mark will give us some directions, but I want everyone to come over to the mothership, which is just, half a mile away. And we're going to have like heavy hors d'oeuvres and some cocktails and stuff. And that, of course, includes the realtors and builders in the room. So you guys can come and we'll just have some fun over there at Mothership. So for those that I haven't met yet, my name is Todd Scrima, and I have the pleasure of talking today about VIP accounts. So long road for me on this one. I was in back, and Rick just reminded me of this. He says, "Why are you teaching this class? You suck at this." But it honestly has been a struggle. I've done, like all of us, I do some things well, and then I struggle with a lot of things. But one of the things I struggle with is I don't know how I knew this one, but I was smart enough early on to realize that there's some big accounts out there, and those big accounts I should be working with, okay? I wasn't always good at keeping the accounts and I say an emotional level. Because like some of us in the room, not all of us, I just think I'm that good in a bag of chips. Meaning that if I do a really good job, that they will never leave. Meaning good job, meaning I do a really good job with the client. And I was really good with the client, okay? And the client, I would make sure that the client gave feedback to the realtor. One of the habits I got into years ago, it kind of dawned on me, like, I've got to call the realtor or the builder anyway and update them on what's going on with the transaction, so I'm just going to start doing it in front of the client. And so I'd get him on speakerphone and say, "Hey, Mike, it's Todd. I'm sitting here with the Joneses. Do you have just a minute?" "Yes." "Well, listen, I wanted to update you on this deal and tell you we had a great meeting. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how did you feel?" "Oh, my God, this guy's awesome. You should have referred us to this guy the first time. Man, this guy is awesome." Yeah. I said, "How did you feel about the meeting?" "Oh, we feel totally comfortable with this. We feel totally comfortable with that." "Okay, what did I say about the, Mike, the realtor that's on the phone?" "Well, you said you sent your sister to him and we have to use him. So you're going to use Mike, right?" "Oh, yeah, we're going to use Mike. Hey, Mike, can we meet later in a couple days, right? And we'll get this thing set up." And so later on, I would call Mike and I'd say, "Mike, if it was the first time doing it, I'd say, 'Mike, why did I make that phone call to you?' And he says, 'Well, I don't know, but I really appreciate it.' I said, 'Well, I want them to use you, right? It's my job to protect your commission because you're trying to get me a deal.'" Does that make sense? So I was good at doing those kind of things. But I will tell you, my first several years in the business, how many times do you think I broke bread with a realtor or builder? I mean, I'm talking outside of lunch, because I did a lot of lunches. Outside of lunch, like birthday parties or having them to my house for a barbecue and stuff like that. Almost zero. Almost zero. Because by the time I was done working, my logic was if I just do a really good job with the client, then good thing, they'll just keep using me. But what's the problem with that logic? Yeah, one bad deal away from ending, that's true. But is it true that there's other great loan officers out there that can do just as good a job as I can? No. Yes. Now, I know we all want to say no to that question. But the truth is, there's other great ones, okay? So that's one of the problems. So if I can get that, we always say, how do most of us make decisions most of the time? How? With our emotions. And then we justify through logic. Does that make sense? And you're like, "Oh, that's not true." Any of you have daughters? Okay, so you know I'm right. Because you know what you're just getting to get away from. You're like, "That's not right." But it's so emotional having a daughter. You're like, "Oh, she's so cute, though." Okay? Phil knows this. He got a couple little daughters. Okay? So my point is that this is a class about how to do some target marketing and then how to go after some of those whales. Because when we poll people on this class, people are like, well, I just don't know what to say to a whale. So we're going to do some of the two-step close, just the initial part. So Tanya, as part of her part, is we're going to do some interviews and then have you guys do some interviews. And then how do we follow up? How do we keep them? Because usually what I find in coaching people, and I found for myself, I'm telling you I wasn't good at the emotion. I was really good at target marketing and getting the big clients, and I was really good at follow through. But there's people in the audience that say, Todd, I'm good at the first two, but not the last, right? And I think to teach this class correctly, it's about going through all three of those. Now, for the realtors and or builders in the room, I think, guys, this is the biggest miss you get in your business. I don't want to over-exaggerate the numbers. Rick told them to me at the summit, and I forgot. But there's this gentleman, Alan, who we coach actually in Tanya's market in Nashville. He's a core client realtor, and he did 60 deals with his VIP list this year. 60. 35 people on his VIP list, and he did close 60 transactions. 25 million. For $25 million just from that source? Just from that source. So why do I say it's a miss for the realtors? Because a realtor is trained to think, well, if someone calls me off the sign, or someone gives me a Google lead, right, and I'm just gonna spray and pray all over those people. But the truth is, if we just go deeper with what we have, if we just go deeper with the people that we have, it'll make a huge difference, okay? So I taught this class only once before, and the class I taught was just after I had missed Rick Ruby's birthday. So I go out and see Rick just after that, and he says, dude, you're an idiot. And I said, what's the problem? He says, well, it was my birthday last week, and you didn't even call me. And I said, you know what? I knew it was your birthday. And he said, let me get this straight. We're in business together in the mortgage company. We're partners in the core. I run 4 branches. I do summit coaching. And you forget, like, if anyone's important to you, it should be me. And I said, you're right. And so I felt about this big, okay? My point is, we got to stop, and this is where I make a mistake, is judging yourself based on your intentions versus your what? Actions. Because the actions are what count. And so through this class, we're going to do some of the actions and kind of develop a simple roadmap by the end so that we can stay in touch with all those people, okay? Is it easy? No. Is it easier just going to find someone new to do business with? Yeah, I think it probably is for some of you, not all of us. But if you're a pretty good salesman, kick him to the curb. Let's just get another, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're a builder, a realtor, or lender. There is some of that in all of us. If there's what I want to teach you in this class is if there's someone that you want to do business with, and I'm going to show you what that criteria is, and they're on our list, okay, where they're a VIP to us, then it's better, that's a better process to go deeper with them than to just go out and get new business. Now, some of you in the room are more factual in nature. So I was given a talk about 1.5 years ago, and so I looked up some numbers. There's a lot of places to get some good, valid numbers. Here's what I found in our industry. Someone tell me what this means. 15% equals 80%. Yeah. So 15% of builders and realtors, or referral accounts we'll call them, literally close 80% of the transactions in our business. I'll tell you something that'll blow you away. Dayton Schrader's one of our leaders in the core, one of our coaches, one of the guys we coach. He closed, 500 sides as a realtor this year. He's on a list. And so I'm in the middle of doing this thing. He's in the list of 250 largest realtors in America, okay? So I remember him telling me that story, so I looked up the list in preparation for my talk. This will blow you away. 250 realtors in America made up 0.5% of all closings in the nation last year. Now that doesn't sound very impressive, But guys, I'm talking about literally 250 realtors. They had their name, where they work, and what their volume was, and how many transactions. I added that all up, divided it into all the resale transactions for the year. It was 0.5%. So 250 realtors. How many realtors are there in the world? In America, sorry. Too many. How many? I don't know exactly, depends on the stats, but it's between 2 and 3 million. 2 and 3 million. And 250 made up 0.5% of all closings. I mean, it's crazy. So if you don't believe me, guys, are there exceptions to this? Office by office, yes. But in an area, if you take all the realtors, like there's 100 realtors in an office, or builders, okay? And realtors, same thing applies to you. So when we talk about targeting financial planners, do you think you might find out that 15% of financial planners refer 80% of real estate leads? Yes, it's the same math over and over again. It's confusing to us because there's so many people in our business, because I'm literally saying that most of the people in our industry don't move the needle, right? There's a lot of people in our industry that are closing 1 or less transactions a month. And that's not who I'm talking about to put on a VIP list, okay? So be clear, there's a certain criteria that we have to establish, okay? Let me give you a stat that'll blow you away, and I'll brag about this more tomorrow. So last year, I look at Summit about this time last year, and I'm like, do we really have to add anybody? Like we've got great loan consultants. If we just support them a little bit more, they'll do more business, okay? So we added 4 loan officers last year, literally 4. You see my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4 loan officers, net loan officers that we hired. We top graded a bunch of them, okay? And we taught you 2 things. One is how to build team, and we coached you, okay? You guys did 33% more business. So I only added 2% more salespeople, and you did 33% more business. Guess how much that extra business that was last year in dollars? $1 billion. You guys literally, last year, just because we started focusing more on all the top producers in Summit, you guys literally closed another $1 billion in volume. That's a whole mortgage bank, guys. It literally is. So we went from funding $2.3 billion to $3.3 billion this year because we just focused on you more. Now, is it good enough yet? No, nowhere close to where we're going to take it, okay? I see you guys closing 20, 30, 40, 50 loans. Some of you guys look at the top producers. I think all of you can be that, okay? But not if we don't invest in each other. That's the truth. So that's part of what that looks and feels like. Does that make sense? Okay. So now let's start with the end in mind. Who read the book Raving Fans? Okay. What's the three laws? 3 rules in that book. What's that? Wow plus 1 is the 3rd rule. Means give great service plus 1%. It's part of this VIP, so it's in line with VIP. Know what you want. Know what your client wants. So here's number 1 is know what you want. And so we're going to start with this. We're going to start with the end in mind because a lot of us get confused. This is another story of pain. What happens? So you guys know me pretty well. Most of you do. I love people that achieve at a very high level. What happens to me when I deal with, say, a loan officer that can't close 2 loans a month? Happens to my energy level. Happens to my enthusiasm. Happens to my happiness. Now listen, we don't have those people anymore in Summit, or very, very few if we have any. And that's what I'm most proud of because I'm so energized to work with all of you. Now we've got to do that in your business because as an originator, I knew how to call in some big accounts, but wasn't really super clear on this. So I want you to pull out a piece of paper, any piece of paper that you have. We're going to do a quick exercise called the 10 characteristics of referral accounts that you would go after. Top 10 characteristics of referral accounts that you want. Realtors, you're doing the same thing. Anyone know what's the definition of a referral account? Yeah. 4 or more transactions a year closed. So that's a referral account, okay? A channel account is 12 or more transactions a year from a single source. So we're just going to deal with 4. So we're going to write a list of what these characteristics would look like. What I'm going to have you do is you'll get to 10. I want you to start writing. Like, what's an example? One of the ones I have on mine personally is they're the top 20% of their game. Okay, so they're the top 20% in the office. They're top 20% in the industry. That's something I have on mine. Respect is a big thing to me, so I said must be respectful. I'm giving you a couple ideas. I don't want to micromanage this. I want you to write yours down. Can you take that off screen for a second? We'll go over that in a second. Come up with yours. I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to write some down. Then we're going to share some and get the brains going, okay? Go ahead. Short 1, 2, 3 word answers. We got some mics. I would like to do some brainstorming. If you have a good one that you put on your list, I want you to raise your hand, and we're gonna bring a mic to you, and you can say it. By the way, this is a time for you to be selfish. Does that make sense? Some of you guys do business with people you hate. Stop doing that, okay? Like as a realtor, if I really don't like doing listings under 150,000, could I make that one of my characteristics? Yes, for sure, and you should, okay? Okay, who's got something they can share? We're going to get some people are stuck. Yes, Mike up here.
I want to work with
Hold on. Because we're recording this, I want them to hear you.
I want to work with somebody who not only appreciates what we do, is willing to refer me to other agents that they're around in their office.
Is it okay if Mike wants to put that on his thing? Mm-hmm. They refer me to other great realtors? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's a great one. Okay, good. I'm doing this so that we can finish our list of 10. Who else has got a good one? Right there.
I think I should do business with somebody who has influence.
Okay, I like that. Could be a little bit more specific, but a general thing like that could be good. Are they influential? Okay, good. Yes.
Somebody that has strong morals and comes from contribution.
Strong morals. Good. I like that. There's 2 there, actually. But strong morals or contributes to each other's businesses, things like that. Good. Right over here.
I want to do business with a realtor that's been in business for 4 years and considers that a full-time job.
Oh yeah, a full-time job. Guys, that's a simple one that some of you could add, right? That's a big one. Okay?
How about a high leverage account, like a union?
That's the only people you'll do business with?
Well, the union that has the influence of controlling 4,000 people, for an example, with a higher than $60,000 per family income. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking outside.
Okay. That's more of a channel account one I think that you're talking about. This is just who you'll do business with is on a regular, ongoing basis. What is that characteristic? Yes.
I want to do business with a realtor that knows how to or is open to learning how to lead generate.
That is open to lead generation together? Is that what you mean?
No, just for their business.
Okay,
That
so
means-
they're aggressively lead generating. Good, I like that. Good. You guys ever meet with a realtor and they'll say, well, you get me some leads. You're like, well, it's not really, you're supposed to be the lead generator, right? That always cracks me up. They're-
I want to work with a realtor who's resolution-based.
Resolution-based, that's a great one, okay? Great, great, great one. Good, raise your hands high. We'll get a mic to you. Let's do a couple more.
I want to work with a realtor that has a common vision and common mission statement.
Wow, common vision. It could be mission, okay, good. Yes?
I want to work with a realtor that trusts me and my team.
Trust. I believe that's on mine. That's a good one. Good. Let's do one more up here up front. We'll do this one and then this one, then we'll be done.
I want to work with realtors that are motivated and goal-oriented, want to grow their business because that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, driven might be something, you know, a way to encapsulate that. They're driven. Is it, for those of you that are driven, is it hard to work with people that aren't driven? Like, I saw Rick do this for years. He was like, Todd, I can motivate anybody. I'm like, the person's a sloth. They're not driven, and you will not change them. I can change them. No, you can't, okay? Now he's like, I'm just going to hire the best. I give in. I'm like, and then he would get frustrated. Here's the best national mortgage coach working with the worst, right, raw. And I'm just saying, there's no bad people, right? You're all God's people. I don't mean it that way. I'm saying in your profession, right? So working with the best, like attracts like when you do it right, okay? Good. What was the last one?
I want to work with somebody that's going to be respectful of what my team and myself bring to their table.
Good. Respectful. Good. Okay, good. Now, show mine up on screen here for a second. This is, you don't have to copy mine. This is just what I came up with. Respectful in how they treat others. Very positive and happy. Strong learning-based mindset, i.e. coachable. Desire to develop a large income. That's important to me. Able to refer at least one closed loan per month. Call us back within 5 hours. Top 20% in their market or office. Reasonable closing time frames. Views their career as a long-term profession. Okay, so they see that as a career and believes in following federal and state industry laws. Okay? Just thought I would throw that in. Okay? Kind of important. Okay, so this is, if I would have had this years ago, because I just learned to develop this and think this way, it's scary, right? Scary. So, does everyone have their 10? Okay, good. We spent enough time on that. I want you to walk away with your 10, and this is your action item. I literally want you to type it up and put it someplace where you can look at it all the time. You could not commit enough to following these rules. These are your rules, okay? This is your selfishness saying, this is who I'll do business with. And those people who don't follow these things, it'll quickly become obvious that they don't fit your business. Now, guess what you'll go do? Some of you are still fear-based with selling. You're like, yeah, but I closed 4 transactions with them last year, Todd. But what will happen? Will you replace that business? I promise you, you will. Will you be happier? Oh, unbelievably more happy. I mean, it'll be crazy because you'll find out that about 10% or maybe 20% of your clients cause you the most grief. Does that make sense? Are you guys on this planet to be grieving all the time? No, it's because we're picking the wrong people. I love 100% commission sales because you get to choose who you get to do business with. So, I can't impress upon you enough, this right here is magical, okay? Right here is magical, okay? So, yes. Blake?
How do you end those relationships? Is it just kind of a gradual stop calling on them? Do you sit down and have a conversation and say, either I want you to do these things or I'm not really going to work with you anymore? How does that usually go? Or do they just kind of figure it out?
The first time I remember doing this, you know, we did this lead tracker in review, so I just sent out that for business planning last couple weeks ago. And this lady had sent me like 145 referrals in a year, and we closed 2 deals. What was the problem?
Badly.
Sending me a bunch of credit repair people, right? And I did the math, like my loan partner one's spending, 80 hours a year talking to these clients that don't even qualify. Half the time they don't show up when they say they'll show up. It's a big waste of time. And I just called her and I said, hey, I want to stay friends with you because I value your friendship, but I don't want to do business with you anymore. And I swear to you, I'm still friends with her to this day. And we didn't do business after that, never. And it was okay. It was okay. You think it was a big deal to her? She's like, okay, I'll just give more crappy leads over here, right? It's no big deal. They'll figure it out. But I think being respectful about it is fine. But let's do a couple more things. So when you guys have this VIP list, I want to start creating this so that we can get some blood going. I want you to go in your handout. I'm not sure which page it is. It says my top 50 favorite VIPs. My top 50 favorite VIPs. Anyone know what page that is? 44. Okay? I want you to take a few minutes, and I want you to write down as many people that you're doing business with now that you think fit your criteria, and write down those VIPs. For now, just write down the names and start filling this list out. You're not going to be, most of you won't be able to get to 50, okay? That's okay, we'll find more, okay? That's an epiphany in and of itself. But these are people that you really want to go deeper with. For the realtors in the room, sometimes they're financial planners, sometimes they're lenders, sometimes they're insurance people, sometimes it's a home builder. And if you went deeper with them, you would do more business with them, okay? Like you're pretty sure if you're a betting person that you would do more business with them if you were more in relationship with them, okay? Take a few minutes to see how many we can get. Okay, guys, come on back. How far did anyone get to 20 so far? That would be a lot, okay? This is not, Tanya and I were just talking, this is not easy. I know for me, this is kind of how basic I got to keep things so that I don't make it too complicated. I came back after that meeting with Rick last January, and I hired Sarah. And Sarah is just my VIP lady, and all she does, I have 96 people on my VIP list. And I want to keep it super basic. I even put my immediate family on my VIP list, okay? Because I just want one list where these are the people in my life I got to take care of. And so I hired a full-time assistant just to do that. And that's all she does. And so I want to give you an idea when you talk about what you do for a VIP, give you some ideas around that, and then introduce Tanya, and she can go through another couple sections of this. So what could we do for a VIP? Well, actually do this. Around your table, I want you guys to share what is one thing that you could do for a VIP. And this will start developing. If you're smart, you'll write this down, because this becomes part of what you're going to do for these individuals. So share around your table. One person goes at a time, about 10 seconds each. Person with the shortest hair goes first, and they go clockwise. Okay, go ahead. Okay, guys, come on back. Let's do some good ideas. Who had a great idea around their table they heard? Oh, look at Michael over here. Shell Answer Man. Yeah, just something you guys heard that you really liked.
They have, I think you said 7 MSAs or 5 MSAs. So they do a breakfast basket of just full of different items. Maybe you can tell them what's in it.
Oh, yeah, great. It's just a basket in each office. It has our marketing material in it, and it has just some healthy breakfast bars, apples, bananas. We fill it up at least like once a week. Agents walk by. They're in the office. They'll grab something. They'll see our information, and it's been good.
Okay, good. So food is a big piece to all this stuff. Why is food a big piece? Yeah, food is nurturing. When you break bread with someone, it's relational. It's not transactional. Okay, good. Charlene?
I like this site called personalizationmall.com. And they have everything on there. They personalize it. It's very reasonable. Doormats, even Christmas ornaments, stockings, picture frames, you name it, it's on there. And the partners really get excited when you send them something with their name on it.
That's cool. I've had golf balls sent to me with my family's picture on it. I got a bobblehead, Todd bobblehead. So Some guy sent me a bobblehead of me, so those are cool. Yes.
Brian's idea is great, having the birthday program for the kids or the spouse. He said it got a lot more attention than the actual partner.
Yeah. Recognize someone kids, it's the way to their heart, right? Yes?
All right, so mine was, I met down with my referral partner, was an agent, and I said I got their best referral partner, like a family law, and I cold called family law attorneys that are right next to us, and I set up an appointment for her right there and taught her the value of referral partners, and it was an appointment for me too, but she was blown away.
Yeah, that's great. In the back.
Sending out a list for monthly events around the valley.
Okay, send out a list of
things
it's kind
to
of a job aid kind of thing. Okay, good. Who else? Where's the mics at? Yes, John.
So we came up with the Save a Marriage program, which is that you find out the spouse and kids' birth dates and the anniversary, and you let them know prior to that date so they can go get a gift and not lose their marriage. And it dovetails well because if they don't listen, you can go after the family practice attorney that they have to go through for the divorce. So it's really a great, yeah.
Okay, good. I like it. I think we're missing a lot of basics. Okay, what else? Let's do one more. Yes, Dave in the back. Oh my God! Dave says we actually have to call them. Are you joking me, Dave Kammerer? We actually got to call people we love and want more business from? What a concept. Now, listen, we come up with some cute ideas, and that's fine. But what are the basic, if we're going to talk about basic sales and deepening relationships, it has to do with two things. What is it? Dave just said one? Call and visit, okay? So calls and visits. So guys, this week, this is interesting to me. I asked my management team this morning how much Summit Funding is going to pay for the 2 retreats this week plus the Christmas party. And they had no idea. Guess what the math is? Over $500,000. Why would I spend that kind of money? Because who's my clients? It's you, right? So you're my clients. So yes, I would be happy to spend $500,000 to see you, okay? And spend time together and break bread and all that, have classes together. That's what that's about. So for me, I had to hire someone just to do all my stuff. I will pretty much tell you the same thing. You're gonna have to find someone to do the birthday program, to develop the list of 10 calls a week that you've got to do the gifts. Sarah was with me for a couple months, and she used to ask my input on gifts. And one day I looked at her and I said, Sarah, if I was good at gift giving, I wouldn't have you. And she said, got it, boss, right? So she does the all about you. You got the all about yous, and she finds gifts and stuff, and she does it, okay? But your assistant or whoever you delegate that to cannot do the calls and cannot do the visits. Does that make sense? Those are two things that you have to do. And it's about you having a system where someone comes to you and says, hey, this is who you're going to go see. Hey, you've got to set up these 5 people you wanted to see. I set up lunch all this week. You're booked for lunch because you're having 5 lunches this week with these VIPs. It's that kind of system. Does that make sense? And the calls are just calls. You just sit down and you call them, okay? And we all have excuses why we don't call. But if you don't call, then what happens? They think you don't care about them. Right? It's that simple, okay? So, we getting this concept already? Do you think there's more business here with people you already know? How much? Tons and tons, because let's say you were getting 100% of business from the financial planner or the home builder or the realtor, which very few of us do, but say you were at 100%. Because of that deep relationship, what else would they do? Refer you to other people like them. I got a guy, makes $1 million a year, financial planner, and he's like, Todd, he's grilling me all the time about business. This is 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, well, you're always grilling me. I said, you do really well. What's your biggest thing that you do? He says, Todd, I would tell you, but you wouldn't believe me. And I said, no, I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm sure I would, right? So finally, he's all, well, every Wednesday night, I invite one of my VIP clients, one of my top 50 that are my core people, and I ask them to bring another couple. And we make dinner with them in our house. and drink wine. And I said, that makes perfect sense. I said, how long you been doing that? It says 8 years, hardly ever missed a Wednesday. Because his top 50 clients, who do they bring over? And a financial planner likes rich people, so the rich doctor brings the other rich doctor friend, right? Does that make sense? That's just how it works. And he built a whole business based on that. So this is going deep with our clients. Tanya is going to teach a lot of the rest of this class, and Tonya Esquibel is a top producer in Summit from the Nashville, Tennessee area. I love a lot of things. One of the things that she's really into is big accounts, and like me, she struggles with some stuff as well, and she does some awesome things. So Tanya, please take us away, honey.
Thank you, guys. Hello. Okay, so as Todd mentioned, I just kind of wanted to share with you guys, my excitement in the business truly comes from capturing that deal. There's nothing that gets me more excited than for someone to say, you cannot get this big well. And I'm like, I am on it. And I go and I capture them. And
whoops.
And then once I get them, I just forget all about them and move on to the next one. Sorry about that. So one of the things that I was thinking about when Todd asked me to do this class, and I've been really kind of going back in my mind going, what is it that makes me love the Kills so much, makes me love getting that big account, but what holds me back from really wanting to go to the next step and going deep in that relationship? And I think everyone has a different meaning of what that looks like for them. Someone, it might be maybe you are selfish. Some people, maybe it's vulnerability. For me personally, it's very hard for me to be transparent. I want to put my business suit on. I want to be professional. I want to get your deal done. I want to get you closed. I want to get you paid. And I expect the next deal just to keep coming because I get you paid every single time. So I think you have to really, when I'm looking at what can you do for your VIPs and where you're strong or weak in your business is how can you get emotionally fit in all areas of your business? Whether you're the one that loves capturing the big deal or you're the best at follow-up, but you can't make the call to capture the big deal. Try to get emotionally fit. And what I was thinking about, I went running this morning and trying to clear my head, and I was thinking, there's a couple of things that I could personally do to go deeper with my VIPs. And one of those is, instead of sitting in that room thinking about what I got to do next, this phone call's going, or this loan is what's happening here, or I'm thinking about yesterday, I'm thinking about how to get more business, or I'm looking at them thinking about really kind of in a selfish way at that point going, how much more business can I get from you? And if I start to really restructure my mind and my thought process and go, you know what? How can I contribute to you more? And how can I appreciate you more? So those are two things that I am truly going to focus on and going into 2016 is really sitting down and going every aspect of my business, whether it's the client, whether it's the builder, whether it's the realtor, but how can I contribute more to that person and how can I appreciate them more? And so that's something that I think is going to be a game changer for me in my business in 2016, just because right now when I go to that meeting, it's all about, can I get the account? And then I move on to the next one. Or my mind is so busy that I'm working in a lot of different aspects. So those are things that I would want you to think about in your business. Where can you get more emotionally fit? Because when you get emotionally fit, you're going to get really psychologically strong. And when you're psychologically strong, you can conquer anything and be consistent with anything. So that was just kind of my morning run, kind of my thoughts and going, how can I even be better with my VIPs and what can I do? So I wanted to share that with you guys just to give you an idea of where we're all at different times in our aspects. But when it comes to favorite VIPs, one of the things that we were all talking about, and it was true, we all came up with these really cute ideas, right? And there were some really cute ideas, but as Dave mentioned, we got to make the phone call. We probably need to see them at least once a month and go to lunch. So if you have these people on your VIP list, another thing that I want to implement in 2016 is once a week going to lunch with someone on that VIP list. Even if it's once a week. Now, should we do it more than that? Absolutely, but we're also prospecting too. But if you take that VIP once a week to lunch and just rotate through your list, plus call them like we're supposed to, that's going to probably make a bigger difference than a cutesy little gift that they're going to get every now and then. They want to see you, they want to see your face, and it goes back to when I'm at that lunch, how can I contribute more and how can I appreciate you more? And I want to show you that appreciation and contribute more into your business this year. a couple of things that we brainstormed in our office, because we get really derailed. I'm ADD. I'm a salesperson too, so I'll get going one way and I'll bounce around here and go there. Is I really think that we go and we get this account, and we're so excited when we win this account. It's like, what do we do next? And then we get busy in the day-to-day of the work. And then we slam our LP1 because now she's got all these leads coming in, but hey, did you send out my gift? Did you do this? Did you do that? So we were having a hard time being really consistent. And like Todd mentioned, he's now hired a full-time person to do that for him. Well, in our office, what we decided to do was really, we sat around, we started about 3 months ago, kind of having more consistent sales meetings with the LOs and really talking about what they're doing great in their business, what can we all help each other with, and how can we make more of an impact with Summit funding in our market versus Tonya Esquibel trying to make an impact, or Marshall Sparkman over here trying to make an impact. How can we come together and show an impact? And so what we did is we got together and we put together some certain follow-up programs that we're going to do, because when we all sat around the table, we were all pretty good at getting deals, we're all pretty good at getting the account, but where most of us in that room sat there and felt like we fell short of our follow-through, of our follow-up. And so I do think there's some really great things you can do within your office and your camaraderie to come up with some ideas. One of the things we're doing is the birthday program, the VIP birthday program, having that consistent and having one person designated to do that for us. We also came up with kind of a cute 4x4 campaign. I know 8 weeks touches is great, but we said, hey, why don't we start with 4 consistently with everyone that we meet and see how that gets us, and then we'll go from there. So little things like, just to kind of give you some ideas, after you meet with someone and you have a really, really great meeting, you drop them a thank you note. We do the lottery ticket. One of our sayings is we bought Summit pins. Think of us when you write your next deal. Just little cute things. You could do, one thing that we did for a VIP office that I had in the past is we would do customized M&Ms. There's nothing sweeter than doing business with you. So you don't have to go and spend all the money, but you can do some cute little things along the way. But the most important thing, honestly, is keep those things and have someone consistently do them for you. Because if you do them once or twice and then you get busy, what do we show them? That we're no different than any other loan officer. We come in and we make all these promises, but we're never consistently following through. We're never consistently doing it. So whether it's you hiring someone, maybe you're at your level of your business to hire someone on your own to come up with some of those follow-up and follow-through campaigns, but just don't miss sight, like they said, of the phone call and that face-to-face lunch and going deeper with them for your business. One of the things that I was kind of thinking about too when it comes to getting the client, when Todd asked me to help with this class, he asked me a couple of questions, and he said, where do you think most of the loan officers, we've got 20%, 80% of the people doing 20% of the business. How do we focus on that top 20%? How do we focus on the cream of the business? And I said, I think a lot of it has to do with, when I start to think about it, when I train and talk to other loan officers, is are you struggled with what to really say because you overthink the power of the person sitting in front of you? You feel like it's easier to sit there and talk to the agent that's doing 2 to 3 deals versus you're like, oh my gosh, and you got all this nervous energy. I'm going to go talk to this big well that's closing, 50 deals a year. What do I say to them? And I really think that in my start of my career, and just to kind of share some of the pain, I've been doing it for 20 years. I started in the operation assistant side of the business, management, area management, and then got into production. And I think when I got into production, I was so excited about just to have a realtor that was living and breathing to call and give me a deal. That was my qualification of getting a deal, because I was so desperate just to get a deal. And then the other thing that I would do is when I would get a good appointment with someone, because I used to be an underwriter and so I could figure out the tough deals, and a lot of times you get that reputation in your market and they start calling you. Good agents will start calling you. So when I got my very first good deal with a good agent, it was more of not listening enough. It was more of, this is everything in my toolbox, and just chunked it out on the table. So the things that I can say to you throughout the career where I've had pain and didn't have these systems in place soon enough really kept me from probably exploding my business more, having a better quality of life, a better balance, and doing business with people that I like. So one of the things that I felt like that's important is, what do you say when you're at that meeting? And how do you find it's really easy. How do we find out what their pain is? And really, it's just asking a couple of key questions and letting them talk. And you already know what your toolbox kit has in it, and it's just utilizing what they need. So if I'm sitting across from a realtor and I ask them, how many families have you helped this year? And they say, oh, I've helped 50 families. And I say, well, what's the biggest challenge that you've had this year in your business? And they tell me that, you know, their biggest challenge has been leads. And if I want to pull out and tell them, well, we're a direct endorsed lender and I've got local appraisals and I've got this, you're not giving them the value that they want. So when it comes to really finding and qualifying the right person that you're doing business with, and you finally get that meeting, don't overthink it. It's not rocket science. It's really sitting down, finding out what their pain is and what you can do to add value to them. What can you do to contribute more to them, and what can you do to appreciate them more? And when they see that passion and they see that in you, they're gonna want to work with you, and they're gonna want to do business with you. It does take time to develop the relationship and earn their trust, but I do think that was one thing that we talked about that I feel like just keeps a lot of people from calling on the right people, is just not knowing what to say. So we've talked about having a unique selling proposition. Derek did a great class about wells earlier, and we've all heard it and through our training and coaching. And what I would like to do is, if it's okay, do a little bit of role playing at your table. And I want one to be the top realtor, I want one to be the lender, and I want you to act like, I want it to be a big well, and you're calling on that well, and I want you to think about 3 questions that you're gonna ask. And in those 3 questions, I need you to find out what's important to them, what their pain is in their business, and how can you earn their business. Okay, so you can start with long hair first this time. I want to know from a couple of people, volunteers, we get everyone quiet for just a second, how that felt, what you learned from that particular experience. Anybody want to share a success? Did you land a well? Did you get them? They're going to be sitting in your business? Come on. You got a second appointment? Okay, good deal. Anybody else want to share what they learned from that? You got someone here in the front.
Questions aren't any different whether it's a whale or a regular person. So the questions shouldn't be any different whether it's a whale or a regular person. The problems are the same. There may be bigger problems for that whale, but the problems are still the same.
Yeah, very good. That's great. So we just think about it being a huge well and let our fear and everything else work us up more to where really it's just a person having the same business challenges that everybody does. Anybody else want to share? Man, where's all my volunteers? There we go. Okay, awesome. So tell us what you got out of that exercise.
Well, it was interesting because Mark did an excellent job as the loan officer talking to the realtor who is actually one of his realtors. So the first thing he did was something that, Todd and everyone preaches as far as giving them honor. And he recognized what she does in the industry, how well respected she is in the industry, and how excited he is to be able to have the opportunity to at least talk with her. And she said, yeah, no, that's what he did. That's really what he did the whole time. So I think it was the initial giving honor, and she's a good example of that. Really meant a lot to her when they met.
Excellent. All right, great.
Something that we learned over here that I really learned from listening is that you might have to probe a little bit to get the conversation going, ask questions, and then listen. Maybe even take notes. And then let the realtor talk about themselves, because they will tell you everything you need to know.
Yes, that's a very good point. One of the first couple of meetings I started going to is first I would be like trying to take notes, because I want to have an engaging eye conversation. And then finally I just look at them and I go, you know what? After we are obviously gotten to know each other a little bit, I go, I am really ADD and I have to write this down. And they just kind of laugh because she's like, so am I. So we both take notes. But it's very important to listen and then take notes, so that way when you follow up, because that's our plan, right? To be consistently following up, you know something personally about them and you know what's important to them in their business. So yes, another question or another feedback?
So what I got out of it was the fact that I failed miserably. basically forgot the two-step process, and what that reminded me of is if you're not doing it, then you can't even do it in this kind of environment. And that it has to be part of your ritual and your structure, and it's got to be in your planner. You've got to set those appointments. So that's what I got out of it.
That's right. Good, good. I want to ask one question. In this room, actually, I'm going to ask you two questions. It's okay. Raise your hand if you feel that your passion, you're the strongest at capturing the whale. Wow, so not everybody. Who in this room feels like they're the strongest at follow-up once they do get a good account? So it's about balance. Looks about equal. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is me and Todd are going to do a little bit of role play, and do a little appointment here. So we've already talked on the phone. He's agreed to the appointment. You're going to be the realtor, right?
Okay.
You're the realtor. I'm that wonderful lender that's, probably his 20th call that's going to be coming into the appointment. So I think one of the things that, I'm going to talk a little bit before we get into the role play, but I do think that when we talk about there's a fear when you go to that meeting, if it's a really big account, especially like this huge CEO of this wonderful company, and I'm going into this meeting. But you got to think about that they gave you the time. If they gave you the time for the appointment, it means they want to learn something from you in that appointment. And so I want you to go in with confidence with that, because you wouldn't have got the appointment if they didn't want to meet with you or something didn't spark them in that conversation that you had with them. Hey, Todd. Tonya Esquibel,
Hey,
Summit
Tanya.
Funding. How are you?
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Appreciate you coming in.
Yes. So when we were talking on the phone about setting up this appointment, the biggest thing that I wanted to come and talk to you about to help you with is what I'm passionate about is helping you grow your business and celebrating more paydays together. But before that's like my little thing, let's celebrate more paydays. But before we get into that, I really want to ask you, how do you feel that your business has been this year? Do you feel it's been your best year ever? Are you on track for your best year ever?
So this is my 15th year doing this, and it's my second best year ever. I actually made more gross revenue and more net income by about 10% last year. So I'm down a little bit.
But second best year ever. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So what do you feel like in this year's transactions and this year doing business and your day-to-day life, what is the one thing that you feel like that you're struggling with?
I grew my team this year, and I struggle with team. Like sometimes I wonder why they just don't do what I tell them to do. and I know that's funny, but I'm serious. So I'm like, dude, you got to just do what I tell you.
So you feel like that your biggest challenge as a real estate agent is just building a team and
Yeah, because last year I had, counting me, there was 3 of us. Today there's 5 of us. So I grew the team by 2, and we're doing less.
So tell me, when it comes to your team, what type of systems do you have in place right now for your team?
Meaning?
Like, what does that team look like? Do you have a listing agent? Do you have a buyer's agent? Tell me a little bit about your team.
Well, I got a personal assistant, and then we have a person that just intakes like sign calls and new leads. And then we have a person that helps me coordinate the listing side, once I get them on paper and they take it from there. And then I've got a buyer's agent.
Okay, so that's great. So I've got some great information about your team. I'm going to come back to that. Next thing, when it comes to your closings this year and with your families that you've helped, what's been your biggest challenge with that process?
Lenders closing on time.
So lenders closing on
Yeah.
time. Excellent. Okay. So these are a couple of things that I would like to talk to you about.
You know what your recent blame is?
What?
TRID.
TRID?
Yeah.
That's the reason.
That's the
Hey,
latest excuse.
do you know what TRID stands for?
What?
The reason I drink. But no, I really, one of the things that I want to share with you is I've been part of the Corps for about 6 or 7 years. It's the top training for real estate agents and loan officers. And one of the best things that I've gotten from them is because I've had to rebuild a team personally, and they've got some really great systems to help you, like job descriptions specific on how to build a team so you can have accountability. Because a lot of times when it comes to hiring a team, we'll hire people just like us, And so it really has got some great information to help you profile who you're going to hire, to find out who's on your team now, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And I would love to even come in and maybe do a little personality fun little class with them.
Yeah.
And because it's not only going to help them learn their team dynamic, but it's also going to help them when they go to sell to their next client to identify the personality of that client. So I've got some great information I could share with you about team. When it comes to closing on time, we do have a close on time guarantee. And one of the biggest things that we do that I love is we do communication every Tuesday. So you pretty much know where we're on track. That's a verbal phone call to all parties. And then also we have automated email communication too. So you know right when that loan is going into underwriting, you know when that loan is getting cleared for docs. But more importantly, what we've done, and this was really based upon feedback of other great producers like yourself, was we do a timeline calendar now with TRID. And it really helps you see step by step of how to stay on track so we can hold each other accountable to that timeline with our customers. So if the appraiser is supposed to be back on the 6th and it doesn't come till the 8th, we're all talking about it in advance versus 2 or 3 days before closing or a week before closing. So those are a couple of great things that we could do to help you keep your closings on time, and then also to help get that team dialed in so we can kick it off really good in 2016.
Yeah, because I think, this year we did 100 deals. So the year before last we did 110. And I think we could do, when we get our act together, we could do 150, 160.
Yeah, no doubt. If you've got 5 people on your team right now, that would be a great time to get us dialed in. So I would love to come maybe in a couple of weeks and do that personality sales meeting. Do you want to look at your calendar right now so
Yeah,
we can see
let's
where
set
we can
it
do
up.
it? Because
Yeah.
we need to be ready first of the year.
Yeah.
Kick it off hard. Okay,
Like
great.
that. Okay. I didn't take that long.
So a lot of times when we're in that meeting, we talk about doing a 2-step close and coming back for the close. I think you have to kind of feel what's happening in that meeting. If you feel that they're being a little bit more standoffish and that you still haven't really earned or sparked their interest, then if you try to close them too soon, it can hurt you. If you feel that the conversation's going in a good way and you can go ahead and try to close them at that first meeting, there's nothing wrong with that. So when you're doing the 2-step close, just think of both of those things and really use your gut and your instinct of how you feel the communication is going and the dialogue is going. So.
Okay, good. You want to try and reverse? How much time we got? We got time to reverse the role play?
Do you want to reverse it? Do you want to?
Let me ask you guys a question. So when you guys go through some of this and you're having those meetings, so that didn't take that long, right? But I want you to notice something. Where was her heart? Yeah, I mean, immediately she jumps in to help me with my team. And I think a lot of us, honestly, I've had the chance to coach top producers for 15 years now. And I'm telling you, just from a coaching standpoint, there's a big noticeable difference on whether or not, the top producers, a lot of times they are chastised by they're just doing deals or cranking this out. What I find is actually the opposite. What I find is they actually care a lot more about either the VIP in this case and or the actual borrower. They actually care more than a lot of people. And I don't know how else to say that, but I wanted you to hear that and feel that, that there's a lot of love and care. And listen, people, again, judge us by our actions or our intentions. Yeah. And so it's those actions where she would actually take time out of her day, come in and do a team meeting and help me with my team, right? That's showing by action. That's not, oh, we'll do that later, right? She said, open up your calendar and let's put a date on it, right? And it really was like in a real life situation, I would have walked away from that thinking, A, that's different, and B, I'm excited for that next meeting because she's going to help me with some team stuff, which is where my pain is. Does that make sense? So I thought that was great. Good.
Okay.
Let's not do the reverse role play because I don't think we'll have time.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. How much time do we have?
We got about 10 minutes left, so let's kind of wrap this up. You guys ever read the 5 love languages? Okay. So this is another way of saying, I think this stuff is important. How many people struggle with their marriage? Okay. Everybody. Here's a better question. Yeah, I'm perfect. How many people statistically for sure struggle with marriage? 50%, right? Because they get a divorce. Okay. So when we're talking about some of these things, if we don't know how to love our own spouse, we for sure are going to struggle with loving our VIPs. And I think I know that hurts when I say that because it creates some fear, but it's the truth, guys. So I wonder, are we really getting this? The 5 Love Languages, for those who haven't read it, is a book about 5 ways that people experience love. So let's just write it down. You should get the book and read the book because I think it's great reinforcement. But the basics of the book are what? What are the 5 ways that people show love? Okay? Whoops. Quality time. Acts of service. Gifts. What was it? Yeah, words of affirmation. Okay, so let's go over this. So when you look at this, you got quality time. That would look like for our VIPs, a lunch, dinner at your house, double date with your spouses, right? Those would be examples of quality time. Now, can it be a really quality business meeting? Like we're just setting up here? Yes, of course, okay? But the key here is that this piece, okay, is that quality time. And you're really focused on bettering their life. You know, you look at Summit Coaching has been a huge success. You wait till you guys see these numbers tomorrow. Our person who's coached almost tripled the income in 1 year of people non-coached. Now, why is that? Yeah, well, we've got quality time with the coach, right? If you're closing 20 loans a month and I'm closing 5, if you give me some quality time, I'm probably going to grow. Does that make sense? I mean, it's not really rocket science, is it? It's just there's structured time. There's structured time to be able to work on the business and make headway, okay? Acts of service, how could we do that? We've got a silly gift program over here that Mark and his marketing team created. So the silly gifts, now that's an act of service, right? If you send me a silly little gift, right? That could be an act of service. Yes, it's gifts as well, but these are simple things that we can do. And so act of service. Someone give me an example of something that they did for someone as an act of service. Yes. Get involved in a charity. Great. So you've got, you know, a big VIP account is passionate about kids. You're passionate about kids. You guys could join a charity together, right? That would be a great idea. Who else had an example? Yes. Yeah, he painted a new client's office, helped him paint their office, right? He didn't have to do that. He just did it because he thought that was the right thing to do. It was a nice act of service, okay? Gifts. And we talk about this, and you talk about developing your VIP program, you should be sending out at least 5 random gifts a month, okay? These are simple things that you can do. Non-physical touch. What is it? Non-sexual physical touch, okay? That is a lost art. Lost art. I told my managers this morning they had 2 choices to greet you while you're here. It's either double-wrapped handshake or what? A hug, okay? It's not optional, okay, in my company. Why? Because it's a way that we show love, okay? And then you have words of affirmation. What would that sound like? You're so great. Oh, man, you blew me away with this. I can't believe I'm honored to work with you. Those kind of things. That's words of affirmation. So to wrap this up, in the beginning we talked about who do we want to do business with. Don't underestimate that one, boys. I'm telling you, that's huge. Because you'll stop going after people that frustrate you and make you hate your job, okay? Just go after people that fit that criteria. Do a better job of target marketing, and we'll develop a VIP list. We talk about the actual VIP list. You've got that thing that says getting to know you form, okay? So when I had to do my VIP list, one of the biggest epiphanies was I was shocked at what I didn't know about people that were my VIPs. Shocked. I didn't even, my stepmom, who my parents divorced when I was 2 and been remarried ever since. So like I call her my mom, okay? She helped raise me from birth, okay? And I didn't know a ton of stuff that she liked. Had no clue. because I had to sit down. Mom, what's this? Like it was embarrassing to ask my mom these questions, okay? So that getting to know you form, we developed this list. What I want you to do is I want you to write down on your notes things that you will do for sure. 5 things that you will do for your VIPs every month. 5 things. One of them has to be call them. One of them has to be a visit. But you get to create the other 3, okay? Write down the 5 things that you will do for your VIPs. You guys got your 5? What are some things besides the calls and visits that you wrote down? Just so I can get a feel. Yes, sir. Yeah, but what's the tactics? So he said, make sure they know how I feel about them. So 5 personal notes a month or 10 personal notes a month would do that, because you could express your feelings on the note card. But if you just wrote down that, there's no action item. You understand? There's no tactic behind it. So there's got to be, now you could say, I will call 10 a month and tell them how much I appreciate them, okay? So that could be another tactic that supports what you want to do. Okay, good. What else did we write down? Bring food, okay? So bring food, but it's got to be, again, specific, so that you say, have lunch at least twice a week with a VIP. That would fulfill that. You guys are being too vague. You got to be very specific, okay? So I'll give you an example. In Summit, I write 10 cards a week, okay? And so we have 1,200 employees, but some of them, and we send them to their home so that they open them in front of who? Their family, their spouse, okay? And I gush on these letters, right? And that's something that I do to help support people so that I could, for my VIP. So that's an example. But ask Sarah, I got to do those 10 cards every single week. It's hard, okay? There's always something that could be more important, but it's not, right? It's not. Okay, one other. Yes, Mike? Okay, you're adding a hug program, okay? Just don't get me sued, okay? No, I'm joking. There's a couple things, guys, just to summarize what we talked about. I believe we got to make a choice. So there's all this talk about the millennials and doing loans online and real estate online for the realtors in the room and all that stuff. There's all this talk about, I mean, it's really hot and heavy right now. Now, years ago, discount brokers came up in the financial planning world. And so you kind of have the Charles Schwabs of the world where, you do your own trades and all that stuff and no one will meet with you. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have companies like Morgan Stanley and Edward D. Jones and places like that. So just so you know the math, does anyone know how much cheaper Charles Schwab is than Morgan Stanley? Because I invest with both. Morgan Stanley is 4 times more expensive than Charles Schwab. 4 times, okay? So if you have any kind of money, it's very expensive to do business with them, okay? But I'll tell you the difference. Charles Schwab won't meet with you and they won't give you direction and all this stuff, but they're a very cool company, okay? It's a cheaper model. And then you got Morgan Stanley, and this guy, John Winters, is my financial planner. He flies in tax attorneys for me, and we work on all kinds of projects. I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing the kind of value that he brings to me, okay? Now, yes, I'm a big client, but this whole class was about big clients. I think that if we're in the middle, and you got Charles Schwab over here, and you got Morgan Stanley over here, what you can't do is what? Can't be both. True? Now, are they both have market segments where some people will invest with Charles Schwab and some people will invest with Edward D. Jones and Morgan Stanley? We agree that there's some online discount realtor brokerages. Will that exist in the future? Yes, it exists today, okay? You can sell your home for 1% or something like that. Those things happen. What you can't do is what? Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley. I'm right here. Can't be both, and you can't be in the middle. You either got to be over here saying, hey, I'm a great realtor that deserves 3%, and here's my value. I'm going to literally change your life. I'm a lender, and I'm going to help you with your team. I'm going to add real value. Because remember, the actual loan or the actual real estate, there's always others that are just as good as you. The reason Summit has that on our playbook, Change People's Lives, is because if you're not willing to do that, you're going to be frustrated in the middle. You're going to be in between Charles Schwab and Morgan Stanley trying to figure out whether you're a discount realtor or discount lender or you're a full-service lender. But the answer is, what I know for sure as a businessman, you can't be stuck in the middle. Okay? You have to be one or the other. Does that make sense? If you guys start to get that because of this VIP program, that's what elevates that kind of thinking. Guys, we're going to do more and more business with less and less accounts. And when you want to expand your business, it'll be easy because you add all this value and the other big accounts refer you to more big accounts. Does that make sense? And that's the logic of how to build a business, okay? So I want to thank Tanya for teaching today. Guys, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it very much. Now, we get to go have some fun.